So the two semifinals already in the books, and that cup final complete. The matchup at least. Right now, the U.S. in action once again, and the U.S. taking on Uruguay. So disappointing so far for the United States. They're showing here at home, but trying to take away something positive now in the consolation bracket, if you will, Dave.
Yeah, coming in 1-4. Very, very difficult on the United States team. After the disappointing performance against Canada, 19-15 they lost. U.S. just needs to eliminate all kinds of mistakes, and there they begin the game with a knock-on. It was a good effort by Zach Test doing what he's asked to do. That is recover kickoffs. That's almost one of his many specialties.
Yeah, Zach Test, the former receiver for Oregon. That's what he goes and he tries to get that jump ball on every kickoff and nearly came up with it.
Just as a symbol of the way the weekends worked here for the United States. After that very promising beginning in Dubai, very frustrating. And I think you've heard the Eagle coaching staff, you've heard the Eagle players talk about it. They have dug their own graves here in Las Vegas. They need to eliminate errors.
Pause, engage.
They've proven they've got the athletes, and now a penalty against the United States. So after a knockout, now a major penalty. And
Uruguay, they were absent from World Series play, from this whole world tour that we're in the middle of right now. Last year, did not play in 2009, 2010. Number of newcomers. They need time together. And you talk to their coaches, they got a lot of speed, tough to tackle, but it's just going to take time. And what is a rich rugby country in terms of tradition and history. And the U.S. on the other side in the top 10 now overall points-wise. Number 9 coming in with 6 points.
Yeah, and the fact the United States will not earn any points on their own turf is devastating. And they're going to have to overcome that after the break, and they reassemble in Hong Kong. And a penalty coming in from the side, offside, against the United States.
Colin Hawley, the man who came in from the side. And the U.S. with a number of injuries yesterday, the first day of play. 3 men out now for Al Caravelli. And they're down to a 10-man roster.
Exactly, Terry. They picked up one. They brought in Taylor Mokate. He's a prop. And he's just a young guy, 22 years old, from Dallas. 6.
Line out for Uruguay. Here in this event for the 5th time. Inside the 22-meter line now.
Uruguay taking advantage of the U.S. errors. Now they lose their feet in the tackle. And as a result, the United States gets a kick. So the U.S. wiggles off the hook for the moment.
Dave, you're a coach, and you've mentioned how difficult it is just to get up for this number of games over the course of 2 days. How about once you're in a consolation bracket, once you haven't done what you've come here to do, how difficult is it to get your players back up?
Yeah, well, it is very much so, and you have to use that one word the coaches have used for decades. That is pride, because that's all they're playing for this afternoon. And for the United States, quite frankly, Terry, it would be unconscionable to drop this match to Uruguay. But if you're an Uruguayan player, what a great opportunity to get the United States when they're a little bit flat.
You've got nothing to lose right now. Marco Bernard with size, getting it back to the middle, and a chance. Tyanosa taken down. Hawkins getting in there to try to fight for it. Slips it out. Zach Test.
Very impressed. Again, take a look at the tenacity of the Uruguayan defense. They have not mailed it in today.
Hawley just goes right through a tackler who's still down on the field. Took the brunt of that. Colin Hawley in for the try.
Exactly what the United States needed to do. We saw them trail in their 3 losses to start the match against South Africa, again against Samoa, and this morning against Canada. They needed to get on the scoreboard first, get that little bit of confidence, and that's exactly what they do.
Hawley in for 5. They'll look to tack on 2 more. It'll be Tyanosa who's handling the kicking duties for the U.S. Mentioned they have 3 players out. Mark Bachhoven, Shalom Studiula, And Mata all injured yesterday for the U.S. and out for the weekend. There's that initial just slinging that out off the ground.
And as you mentioned, Holly just too big and strong. Runs over a tackler and dots it down for the United States.
Torn ACL, they think, for Bachhoven, which is just another one in a long string of injuries for him.
The U.S. kicking to the weak side, just didn't get away with it. Ball just trickled 10 meters.
Ball now. Holding. Off the feet.
Shalom Suniula, his brother Roland, still on the squad and in the lineup today, but Shalom out with that pulled hamstring, which he aggravated it a week ago and did it again yesterday.
All right, United States now taking advantage of the penalty against Uruguay, but look at the Uruguayans. Big hit across the far side.
But Justin Boyd had a chance. Uruguay comes up with possession.
They're playing as well as they played all weekend right now, and they're sniffing this.
Geronimo Echeverry just sailing, looking for someone.
Yeah, United States needs to get. Zach Test does a good job of putting the pressure on from behind. Good hustle by Zach. Don't underestimate just how important that was for him to get back into play, get at a tackle angle, and knock the ball out of the hands of the support player for Uruguay.
Looked initially like Echeverry had the edge and should have just taken it in and looking for help. The defender ran him down initially.
Well, again, it's a little bit counterintuitive thought, but you realize that the defenders have a chance to catch up when the ball is passed laterally. It slows down the attack and allows cover defenders, or defenders even to come from the rear, if you will, to get back into position. It's one of the interesting facets about playing defense in this game. You always have a chance to catch up if you make people pass.
Taken right away. Uruguay, great anticipation. Santiago Gibino. And it happened in a flash.
That's all it takes. Turnover ball again. We saw the Fijians upset New Zealand using turnover ball. And here the United States looking for the offload, had a player open, but who was in the passing lane? Gibernau. And Santiago is going to put his country on the board with a conversion pending.
Geronimo Echeverry, the man who will send it through the upright. So it is 7-7 here in the first half. Uruguay surprisingly on the board to tie the United States.
I don't care how long it takes. Move the ball from side to side, break them apart. Let the ball do the work for you, okay? Let him go out. On that quick penalty, Matty tapped it, let it get to the wing, and then support these sides. When you make that pass to Boyd, you got to get there quicker to help him, okay? And then fight to stay on your feet longer, all right? Now we got a tie game, all right? Forget the scoreline.
I'm at the outside.
Back here in Las Vegas, second half just underway, and the U.S. tied up 7-7 with Uruguay. They've won one game so far. It was against Japan. They don't want to lose this one.
Play, you lost it forward first.
Well, here's a break for the United States. Exactly what they need to start the second half.
Colin Hawley just sailing in. No one's going to run him down.
No, he's going to get a second try of this match. And the United States turns the table. They gave up a turnover try to end the half, and they begin the second half taking advantage of Uruguay's turnover. Just out in open space, not exactly a walk in the park, but certainly an enjoyable trot in for the try.
Your man knock and then hand.
And Colin with a pair of tries in this match for the United States.
Stuart Berry, the referee from South Africa. You hear his voice throughout this game.
We listened a little bit to Coach Caravelli at halftime, exhorting his players to let the ball do the work. We'll see if they can keep possession, not make the turnover, and make Uruguay play more defense. A reminder, just like any sport, it takes more energy to play defense than offense. If you don't turn the ball over, eventually you'll wear down defenders.
Al Caravelli, who we just had a shot of since he took over, is now in his 6th year as the head coach of the USA Sevens. It's really taken this program where it wasn't prior. Since he took over, they've beaten all the top teams at some point. Fiji, Samoa, France, Portugal, Argentina, Kenya, Scotland, England. I mean, you name it, they've had wins over them. Emmerich comes back in and gets there for another 5 to the U.S.
No, he was knocked down. They're going to bring it back. Stepped into touch, and a late call by the Dutch judge over there.
Whatever he said to him, Al Caravelli, at the break, it worked.
Well, to your point a moment ago, Terry, let's put this in some sort of perspective. Maybe 5 or 6 years ago, the United States playing a match like this against Uruguay would have been almost something expected. You saw that left heel go on the line. The line of touch is in touch.
That was a bit of a late flag that came up.
But again, to the point, to the United States now will go have an opportunity to win a couple of games here this weekend. It's a massive disappointment, and that goes to what Al Caravelli has done to this program. This team has high expectations this year, next year, leading all the way up to Rio de Janeiro. And again, as they look at this weekend, Terry, we should underline the fact that they are going to look at tape and say, this is how we beat ourselves. We played South Africa. We could have won that game. We played Samoa. We could have won that game. But woulda, coulda, shoulda doesn't work.
You're the crowd trying to get them revved up once again.
Yeah, and I think these American players had dreams and aspirations of playing for a lot of points here today. And this, as we mentioned, really a pride match for the Western Hemisphere.
There's that kick that can't whoop.
There's a
chance to run it.
Well, no knock. It was lateral. U.S. picks it up. Emmerich, who's been a stalwart of this program, there's your football pass you wanted to see, but it was lateral. That's why you can do it.
Hawkins.
He needs support. Gets it. Nicely done by Bernard.
Can't bring that man down with one hand.
Hawkins will succeed. That was it.
Bernard taking it in, but it was Matt Hawkins who did most of that work.
Yeah, most Americans love seeing this option when taken by one of the players. How about that? Emmerich says, I played football. I can throw it like this.
And that man's caught a few of those in his day, too. Zach Test.
Yep. Yeah, the right guy. He had his right receiver in the right place, running the right pattern. And there's the follow-up. But Matt Hawkins, before that, even, before he got it to Marco, just a will to succeed. Looked like Godzilla roaming over Tokyo, just pounding away.
Tayanosa will try the extra conversion. Not quite. So it's 17-7. Barnard and Hawkins, number 1 and number 2. Couple of bruisers. They're going to have to bring more than an arm tackle if you're going to bring them down.
And to the point again, let's not lose sight of what your point was a few moments ago. Hawkins and Barnard, they could play for other teams around the world. These are not athletes that are secondary. The team has issues, as you mentioned yesterday, of assembly. They're not full-time at this game. But these guys, the United States has the people. They need the support mechanisms.
Which you would imagine with the Olympics in the near future now, they may get.
Paul Emmerich with the pass a moment ago, now with a try. Yeah, so there are the issues for the United States. Personnel improving all the time. These players, some of them are professional rugby players around the world, but they're not professional in the context of this particular team.
Emmerich in. And again, this man's been busy in the second half. It's been all U.S. in the second half. It was 7-7 at the break, remember.
Yeah, and this will be a little bit too much for Uruguay to even contemplate coming back. A minute to go. 22-7. And Al Caravelli is going to have a little smile to take away from this weekend. But trust me, knowing Al's attention to detail, a great deal of teaching will come when they view the video from this weekend.
Those two players, Colin Hawley, who was alongside Al Caravelli, and Paul Emmerich, the two stars so far offensively in this one for the U.S.
Great play. Take the man into touch. Quick line out. You can pick it up and toss it back in as long as it's not toward the other team's goal.
This, by the way, is the Shield semifinal. First of two. You've got the Cup, which is the overall title, the Plate, the Bowl, and the Shield, which they play for in rugby.
A little bit of hardware on these things just so people have a chance to win something, even after pool play may have not gone your way. The United States now doing what they wanted to do, and exactly what Al Caravelli told them to do. Let the ball do the work, get it out to the wing.
Miles Cregwell taking it in for 5, had a football career at Brown. Thought he might have an NFL career. Saw the collegiate sevens being played on NBC last season and made a call to his agent, said, get me into that. I love that rugby.
Well, I think all of the American coaches of national sides are hoping a lot of great athletes in this country are watching this telecast.
And that is the other side of it. You need the funds, you need support, and you also just need some people to know about it. Some of the athletes out there to want to join up.
Precisely, and NBC's commitment to the sport is going to make a huge difference in the United States.
So the United States had the previous win over Japan, their only win so far. And right now, they get the win over Uruguay as we send it down to Marty.
Colin Hawley with 2 tries in that game. Is that a sigh of relief?
Yeah, it is. We had a tough one against Canada this morning, and so needless to say, we had a bit of a chip on our shoulder for this game, so we wanted to come out and just play tough, play hard, straightforward, keep the ball, and keep on moving forward. So it was great to get into the try zone those 2 times, but it comes from Zach Test and Paul Emmerich all breaking the line and, you know, giving us opportunities to score.
How would you describe this weekend for you guys?
It's great being here at the home crowd, you know. Not many people for Americans have been able to play on their home turf for rugby against, all these great opponents, but it's really surreal. It's a landmark, you know. We're moving forward. Rugby's just growing in the United States, and it feels great to be a part of it right now.
I know it's fun to play in front of 20,000, 24,000 people, isn't it?
It's fantastic, you know, family, friends, just all rugby supporters here to support the game. So, I mean, how beautiful is this in America? It's awesome.
Nice way to cap off the weekend for the U.S. team.